Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Keyshawn McNeil Show. I want to thank you all for checking out today's episode. Today, I am going to touch on the importance of life insurance. All right, I'm not going to dive deep into family banking and private banking and be your own bank and cash value and all that stuff you can do with insurance, all these great things you can do with insurance. And I really just want to do a deep dive into, I'll get my camera right here. All right. I really just want to do a deep dive into the importance of life insurance. All right. The fact of the matter is we put more value in things like nice cars, a nice belt, designer bags, the latest J's, or the latest tennis shoes for that matter. We put more value in things like that than we do in life insurance, right? And it's something that's near and dear to me, not because but because I've seen the impact of what insurance has on families or lack thereof, right? Yeah, I've seen both sides. So what I want you all to think about, and this isn't about purchasing insurance for me at all. I just want to give you all some pointers in terms of what you should probably be trying to purchase in life insurance. Now, we have term insurance, we have whole life insurance, and we have some form of universal insurance. Could be index, universal life, or what have you. And what that means in a nutshell is term insurance is kind of like renting. It's kind of like you're renting for a period of time, right? So it's for a certain period, a certain term. So it could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and then it ends, right? Now, there are options for people to keep that policy at that point, but the cost at that time are almost 6 times what you were paying for it when you initially got the policy. So I'm not talking about term insurance in this example here, right? Then we have whole life insurance, which is, as it says, whole life, which is kind of a permanent insurance type of vehicle. And, just based on things like your current debt, your current family dynamic, if you have children and things of that nature, just kind of looking at the idea if you were not here, your income being missed, right? So how do you replace that income, right? So I would probably drive everyone to some type of permanent insurance, be it index universal or some type of whole life insurance, something that you can pay the same amount forever and it's going to be covered, right? And in some cases, something that you can pay into for 10 years, 15 years, and then stop paying, and it's still going to be covered in the event something happens to you. So whole life or some type of IUL would probably be what you should probably have, right? Now we get into things like, how much insurance do I need, right? So for this episode, I'm not going to even go into that whole generational wealth, cash value. I'm not even going into that right now. I just want to give you some real cost. Right now, the average funeral costs about $9,500, right? The average funeral costs about $9,500. When someone passes away, if they're at a hospital, it's going to cost you about $700 to come pick the body up. That's right. You got to pay to get the body, right? So these are costs that are just hard costs, right? So let's assume at least at minimum, just for burial, right? And that involves picking the body up, all those things. Let's assume right about $10,500, right? Now, if you go the cremation route where you get cremated, right, that is usually running about $2,500 to $3,500, okay? Obviously a lot less expensive, but those other things could still be in the play where you have to pay to get the body, et cetera. So let's assume, for the example, $5,000. Let's just overstate it, right? Okay, so we have those costs. So looking at a traditional funeral, about $10,500. Now, if you choose to be cremated, it doesn't mean you still don't have a funeral, right? There's still the dynamics of putting that funeral together. So, you still could be at 8, 9, 10 grand, right? So at minimum, now this is at minimum, and I feel really comfortable saying this. I think that everyone should have at least $25,000 in just life insurance. Some people refer to it as burial insurance. There are these commercials you see on TV where you can get burial insurance, and that just kind of pretty much covers the cost of your burial, right? But I would highly recommend that everyone have at least $25,000 just for life insurance to bury you in the event something happens to you, right? That's just at minimum. That's to keep us off that GoFundMe crusade, And then as we look at individuals like out here who have children or other people they're responsible for, now the cost or the coverage should go up, right? So at minimum, $25,000, right? But let's say you have a child. Your child could be in first, second grade, right? Child may be going to public school, right? But there are expenses with your child going to school. There's food, their uniforms, or if they don't wear uniforms, there's still clothes they got to have for them to go to school and whatnot. So, and then if something happens to you in those elementary or even junior high years, there's still going to be costs associated with the rest of their life, whether you're here or not. So for those of you who are married, and then let's say the husband passes away, you miss that income, right? So it could be felt as simple as you were shopping at the nice grocery stores. Now because you have lost half your income, you're at the average grocery stores. It could be you were going to have braces. Now I can't have braces, right? Most parents out here are living in 2-parent households, right? So, to lose an income can be detrimental to your child's life and even the surviving spouse's life. So we think about that. I always tell individuals when we're talking about that area in terms of replacing income, we want to assume whatever, I would say at least 5 to 7 times the salary. So if you had $100K, you want to have at least $500K to $600K if you have children, and a spouse, right? Now we're kind of getting into other avenues of insurance to be more creative and things of that nature, where we could blend a little term in there, then have another policy that's a whole life or IUL, just to keep the costs, appropriate. But you should always think, some people think 10 times your salary, but I'm being very realistic. I think in terms of death benefit, outside of burial insurance, when we start getting into the income you got to replace when you leave, you want to have at least 5 times that salary. So you're looking at least $500,000. And again, you can combination that, right? You don't have to have it all in one policy. You can get some term insurance for a certain period of time, right? To cover you while you're in those lean earning years. And then you can have a combination, maybe some whole life and IUL on the other end to get to that $500,000 or more. It just depends on your scenario. But I'm just talking at bare minimum, that's what I recommend. But we have to get out of that whole GoFundMe thing, man. We got to do it. We got to stop expecting people to bury us and take care of and take the burden of our expenses that we leave behind. So just to wrap this up, at minimum, $25,000, just general life insurance. I'm not going to get into living benefits and all that stuff. Today, I'm talking about general life insurance, guys. $25,000. Start somewhere. Think about the people that are going to be grieving when you leave. The last thing they should have to worry about is how they're going to bury you, right? So hope you all got something out of this video. If you want to set up an appointment with me to get more information, to maybe see what your numbers look like for general life insurance, hit the link below, and we can have a consultation. I can help you in all 50 states. If I can't get right to you, one of my colleagues who's on my team can definitely take care of you. But please, today, don't put it off any longer. Get covered, whether it's with me or not. Get some insurance. I would love to help you, love to get you covered. But whether it's with me or not, that's not my motive here. Reach out to someone and get the proper insurance. And you don't want to just have term insurance. You want at least $25,000. And remember, preferably a whole life, some type of permanent insurance, either whole life or an IUL policy. And one thing I want you to ask all these agents when they're designing these policies for you is, I want to be able to pay the same thing for the rest of my life if I could. So if it's $100 a month, I don't want to have to pay more. I want to be able to pay this $100 a month and it'll cover me for the rest of my life. You want to make sure that you can do that, right? Another question to ask them is there ever a point in time when I can stop paying on this policy and it will still stay active for the rest of my life? So 2 questions. I want to be able to pay the same amount for the rest of my life. And question 2, do I have to, listen to this, do I have to pay for this for the rest of my life? Or what is the time period when I can stop paying on this policy and it will continue to grow, meaning stay in force, so to speak? All right. Hope you guys got all something out of this. I appreciate the support on the channel. We're approaching 20,000 subscribers. Amazing. I'm super excited about it. Also, check me out over on TikTok. We got some short form video over there, as well as our shorts here on YouTube. But I appreciate the support, and I will see you all on the next episode. Please like, share, subscribe. Please share this with someone. Let's get off the GoFundMe trail. Get some freaking life insurance. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.